They felt inspired by God to do something unorthodox and take a risk, and that was to start a coffee shop in their neighborhood. And so they started this coffee shop, and they felt like God was directing them not to charge for coffee. Now, that's unusual. That's unorthodox. Not just starting a coffee shop, but basically running it for free with all volunteers. They did it, and they took a risk. All pitched in together, and they kind of took a bunch of coffee beans that they had, and they kind of took their own money, pooled it together, and bought this coffee. And when they started to run out, they all sensed the same thing, that God was directing them not to go out and buy any coffee, that God would provide somehow. And so they thought, we've come this far, we're just going to keep going. They got down to towards the end of this coffee, and someone walked in one day and said, I see what you guys are doing. I want to bring you some coffee beans. So they brought in some coffee beans, and the coffee just kept flowing. And they would get down to the end. And the stories that have occurred over the last 15 plus years at Bridge Street Ministries is that sometimes they've gotten down to the very last cup of coffee, and then someone brings in some more. They've never had to ask. They've never had to purchase. God's always provided.